We're back in the deserts of Nevada, and look at this.
Now, I don't know about you, but that is something most people don't see every day.
I've been to national forests, I've been to petrified forests, but I've never been to a car forest before.
Just a few hundred yards from the ghost town of Goldfield, Nevada, is the International Car Forest of the Last Church.
In 2002, a fella living out here by the name of Mark Rippey decided to try to create the Guinness Book of World Records largest car forest.
And in 2004, noticing some of these large cars and buses sticking up out of the ground, a guy by the name of Chad Sorg, I believe, from the Nevada Arts Council, teamed up with Rippey,
renamed this the International Car Forest of the Last Church for some reason.
And it's been growing ever since. Not only are the cars sitting out here, which would be interesting enough, but artists from all around the world have come out to paint these things. This one reminds me of when they repainted that car in the Muppet movie.
And of course, because the Nevada desert is also home to Burning Man, they got the bright idea to start having festivals out here and sometimes stacking these things full of wood and lighting them on fire.
Did you stop the bus? This is where I want to get off.
I had to start up here at the top, but now it's time to descend down the hill and check out the car forest.
Whoa, this is awesome.
I mean, I've been out to Cadillac Ranch before. I've seen cars buried nose down in the ground, but it's weirder to see them like this, just sort of horizontal.
Honey, I got the van stuck in quicksand again.
Yeah, I don't think AAA is gonna get you out of this one. Wow, look at how many there are. I know this property is 80 acres and it's not all full yet, but one of the townies was telling me they're still gonna try to bury at least one per year.
Just think about that. That means in 1,000 years, there'll be 1,000 cars out here.
Ooh, look here. You see some of the art I was talking about painted on there? Unfortunately, some vandals have spray painted some scribbling over it. But look up here. There's a little bit of street art on the hood.
A little wheat pasting action. I actually tried to do a little wheat pasting art myself back in the day, but I don't want to say where or when.
Whoa, look at these strange hieroglyphics on the side of the car. Oh my gosh, Sam was here!
Isn't your son named Sam? I didn't know he could drive all the way out here.
There's something really strange about seeing some 70s, 80s, and 90s cars out here. Ugh, I remember that color upholstery. Blah. I don't know what it is about old, busted up cars sticking out of the ground, but something inside of me just loves it.
Check this out. Mandy and Cowboy took a road trip in 2018. Must have been a fun one.
Something is just so strange about this, you know, just looking at it and thinking, this was someone's family car. Hey, George, you know a good mechanic? We gotta get someone to fix this bad boy up. Oh, wow, look at this old pickup truck sticking out of the ground. Wow, the top of this one is covered with some great art. Look, even in the bed of the truck down there's some pretty creative stuff going on. It's a girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford. Wait a minute, is that a Ford? I can't tell.
Oh, check this out. Pac-Man fans will like this guy, huh?
Is this car a Pinto, a Gremlin, a Rabbit? Something like that. Look at this cargo they're carrying, huh? Maybe that's what happened to him, George. Absolutely awe-inspiring.
And all that we've seen so far is just the tip of the iceberg, or the tip of the
Mercedes or Oldsmobile or whatever. There's just so many of them. Just in my field of vision, I was counting, I could see 40 cars, or at least 40. George and I were just looking around and we counted 40 cars, at least that we can see.
Some of them, of course, being slightly more complete than others.
Like I said, the original idea was to have artists from around the world coming and creating legit art pieces on these things. But of course, you see cars sticking up out of the ground, you think Cadillac Ranch, and people happen to, you know, have spray paint with them.
I think Cadillac Ranch over in Amarillo, Texas is pretty much ensured that if there's spray paint and cars sticking up on the ground, that's gonna happen, you know. They knew what to expect.
I don't know who came and did all the wheat pasting ones up here, but they're pretty cool. It's a pretty cool effect having the wheat pasted figures up there along with some of the graffiti and different stuff. There's a lot of other cool art out here too. Look at this piece right here. I don't know what it is about this one, but it's kind of captivating.
Oh, fasten your safety belt. It's gonna be a artistic ride.
This one reminds me of Mother. Not my mother, but you know, maybe somebody's mother.
Hey, like in the International Car Forest of the Last Church, Oscar.
It is pretty amazing.
That's pretty cool. I'm glad you guys came with me on this little road trip excursion. In case you're wondering, guys, this is not our final destination on this road trip, but it's a pretty fantastic one nonetheless. Oh, look at that. Whoa, look at this old Dodge van over here.
This is the first bridge I've ever seen made out of a van.
Look, Oscar, they created a tunnel under the van so you could dodge it. Wow, this is really cool looking, man. I'd love to own a van like this someday. Just that era of van is so cool. And look at this owl on the back. It must be Night Owl, AKA
Eddie. This old van's gotta be from the 60s or 70s, just judging by the style of it. Oh wow, man, look at the roof on that bad boy. That is pretty strange looking, man. Very unusual position to see a van in. Wow, George, you're huge. Look how much taller than the van you are. Oh, I gotta check this out on the inside. It's weird to know that I'm standing over nothing here. Oscar, I don't want to be discouraging, but this van's kind of a little bit cooler than your van that you've been traveling in. I like it. Check out that old shifter knob on the dashboard. That's cool. Transmission's no good anymore, but the alternator, she's still a cranking. What a trip, man. What a trip. Whoa, I don't even know what this thing is. You guys think this was part of a car? Very unusual looking. Look at this, they got a future pit all dug and ready for another car to be added to the forest. Man, Cowboy and Mandy really wanted to make sure we knew they were here. It looks like Cowboy had his 6-shooter at the ready, huh? Crazy. Look at this old abandoned station wagon just left out here to rot, huh? Kind of brings a lot of questions to my mind. The first question that it brings to my mind is Adrian here? Well, is he? Something kind of somber about the old GM station wagon here, kind of busted out, the broken glass, the spray paint, the rust. Just sitting on the edge of all this desert. There's a lot of mining going on out here, gold mining. So there's a lot of man-made pits in the area, and it's hard to tell if they were dug to put future cars in, or they're left over from the mining, or what. That's pretty strange. I have to assume that they got most of these cars locally, like from the local town. I definitely saw a lot of extra cars parked in people's yards that were broke down and stuff. You see a lot of that out in the desert. People generally have a lot of room out in the desert, so why not just keep it there, you know? But I was thinking if they did get these cars from, you know, the town that's just over there, then it must be strange for people to drive by and go, hey, that's our old car. I'm not sure exactly what kind of car this is, but it really reminds me of my grandma's old Oldsmobile. I know what sign it is, though. Hey, George, what's your sign?
I don't have one.
Oh, that's where I left my keyboard. Need that to upload tomorrow's video, man. Ah, so far I think this is my favorite Oscar. Look at this, you guys. 2 cars stacked on top of each other, and it kind of looks like this top one was an old limousine. The bottom one looks like an old ice cream truck, or maybe a roach coach, I don't know. Oh, Oscar's right, it must have been an old ice cream truck, because look at this little girl here. Or maybe it was a soda truck, because it looks like she's holding a drink or something. Dude, that is very cool, although I am kind of worried about bears being inside of this thing. You know, because of Borat. Oh, very nice. Oh, look at that. Borat confirmed. Man, back when I was in a band, this would have made a very cool tour vehicle. You know, like if it was functional and had more than one seat. Whatever this truck was used for before, boys, there ain't no more ice cream in here. Hey, Oscar, I found something. Are you a Spinal Tap fan?
Yeah.
Oh, guess what we could do? Smell the glove. Smell it. You're not gonna. Oh. What'd it smell like?
Regret.
It was kind of weird being in there and knowing that there's a gigantic old limousine above you. The thing is, the longer I look at it, the more I wonder, was it actually a limousine, or did somebody kind of weld together a monster car and then decide to stick it up there for hashtag art purposes? I love coming out to the desert to find weird, creative stuff like this. I always wonder if there's actually more of it out in the desert, like the land is cheap and that's why there's more things like this, or if it's that they're just more noticeable, because if you were driving through Missouri or something, there'd be trees and bushes and you wouldn't notice this being off the highway. I mean, there's definitely a lot of creative stuff everywhere, but it just seems like there's something about the desert that inspires people to create weird things. Maybe it's the glare of that desert sun, huh? Just does something to you. Looks like we've seen the majority of the little valley down here. It's crazy to think that they have so much more space to add more and more cars to this over time. Just a couple of pieces left for us to see. Look at this over here. Wow, see, look at that. There's a pretty cool painting right there on the roof of that car. Looks like they had quite the fireworks celebration when they completed it. Must have been quite a party. See, here's the thing. I actually don't mind the spray paint look, you know, old warehouses spray painted or cars sticking up out of the ground spray painted. But I do think it's kind of a bummer when people come out here, see this beautiful piece of artwork right there, and then add their own flair to it. After all, there's still plenty of space for more scribbling. This is pretty darn cool, man. This has now become one of my favorite places in Nevada. I like the artwork. I love the cars sticking up out of the ground, obviously. These are impressive enough by themselves, but then you look at this. That is one gargantuan school bus! And check out the artwork on the front, huh? I ain't afraid of no ghost bound. But an ain't Oh yeah, that is pretty cool. I feel like Venkman would approve. Now I believe this is one of the buses where they threw their little festivals, stacked up wood all the way up inside there and lit it on fire while some bands were playing right over there. Sounds weird at first, but imagine you're out here in the desert at night, there's a gigantic school bus sticking up out of the ground, pouring flames out all of those windows. Come on now. Now that would be cool. Now they named this the International Car Forest of the Last Church because, as they said, international part is kind of a tongue-in-cheek reference to, you know, like a national forest somewhere. And according to one of the creators, the last church is for the last church inside all of us, which I don't understand, but it sounds good. Well, anyway, if it was a real church, this is where they would have heard the preaching. The bandstand slash stage. And yeah, man, that is pretty cool. That would have been pretty cool to play a show up there. Actually, I have played shows in places similar, but those were more abandoned houses, old trailer homes out in the desert. There were far less school buses. Dude, this is wicked. This is sick. This is mega nasty, bro. You were in a band once, George. Wouldn't you have loved to play a show out here? Sure. That's my friend George, full of enthusiasm. I see the remains of a lot of smoke bombs, like color smoke grenade type things back here, you know, like fireworks style. Must have been left over from Steven's birthday. Happy birthday, Steven. Pretty awesome, man. People could set up their lawn chairs down there. They could light the band in the glowing fire of the school bus over yonder. Plenty of free parking. And check this out backstage. The VIP lounge. Ooh, the backside of the bus is looking a little bit different. I honestly think that this one must have been lit on fire too, because you could see all those melted looking, twisted looking window frames in there. Not sure the desert sun would do that by itself. Oh, look at that lady. She's just taking a nap there. Taking a nap in the shade, huh? You like that? See, there was a lot of gold mining in the area. You can see this tunnel's been blocked back up by dirt. People from all over the world could virtually smell the gold out here. But I gotta tell you, this little gully right now just smells a little bit like pee-pee. That must be the restroom out here. All right, well, there you have it, folks. We've pretty much seen almost all there is to see at the International Car Forest of the Last Church. This is one artistic place, man. I really enjoyed coming out here, but luckily wrapping things up out here doesn't mean we're wrapping up the day. There's more to see nearby. We've come just down the road and we've hit the town, the historic gold mining town of Goldfield, Nevada. I love historic mining towns because there's always all kinds of historic artifacts outside, and usually plenty of tourist gadgets too, which always makes it hard to tell. Was this a real mining narrow gauge railroad? Sure looks old enough, doesn't it? The Goldfield Limited, now arriving from a trip around the Magic Kingdom. Goldfield was a big boom town. Some of the most famous names in the Old West came out here to Goldfield hoping to strike it rich again. And back when the Wild West was popular in movies and TV, that used to bring tourists 4 miles around. But these days, instead of attracting tourists for its old Western charms, Goldfield is much more famous for its paranormal activity. Behold the world-famous Goldfield Hotel, reportedly one of the most haunted buildings in the world. Ghost hunters have been here, the ghost adventures have been here, and all those paranormal TV experts all claim they've had all kinds of crazy ghostly activities going on in here. Supposedly the ghost adventures were in the basement and had a brick fly across the room. Is that what it was? Yep, a brick flew across the room. That's pretty scary. I don't want people throwing bricks at me. There's been a little controversy about all these TV shows because supposedly their information was based on a former owner's stories, which have been proven to be bogus. I'm not an expert on the paranormal or the afterlife because I've never been there, so I couldn't tell you if this building was haunted or not, but what I can tell you is that it was built in 1907 and 1908. It was boarded up sometime after World War II, and they've been trying to restore it since 1988. As you can see when you come around the corner, this hotel is actually pretty massive. There are plenty of rooms in there. Gives you some idea of how booming this gold town was, huh? One of my friends from high school, her boyfriend told me a story about the Goldfield Hotel. He's like a big buff, tough biker dude. He was saying how he never believed in ghosts before, but it was like super bad vibes in there. Very, very haunted. Wish we could go inside, man. Be cool if we could get some ghosts to follow you on your adventures, huh, Oscar? No. Look at that. Not only is this massive building here, but all throughout the town I could see the remnants and some surviving impressive stone buildings. That's because a lot of the early Old West towns and buildings would burn down in fires. They'd have to rebuild in brick and stone. And of course, 20, 30 years would go by, the mines would dry up, and everybody would leave, leaving us with nothing but the spirits. Whoa, look at this old brown Parker auto garage, huh? That's a pretty cool old filling station. The pumps are long gone, though. One thing I noticed on those TV shows that always kind kind of annoys me is they never do the pan around and show you the neighborhood all around the historic location, you know? Putting it in context, I gotta tell you, it's weird driving up here with all these dirt lots and then seeing this massive brick hotel. Apparently they do get quite a few tourists in Goldfield because there's a lot of gift shops in this town. Like this one, for example. Pull up a chair or come inside, whatever floats your boat.
Part gift shop, part thrift shop. They got a little bit of everything in here. Get a Happy Hawkins book, get some cowboy boots, get yourself a fur coat, a handsome portrait of President Ronald Reagan. And look at this, they've got a railroad museum. Look at this, these are all models of all the different stops along the Tonopah and Tidewater Railroad. This is Ludlow, California, down on Route 66. And it travels all the way through this desert scenery with all these cool recreations of railroad stops and towns. Oh, look at that, here's Shoshone. I'm pretty sure this represents that museum building we were in just the other day. And sure enough, there's Death Valley Junction, and way over here, the Amargosa Opera House, as it appeared back in the day. And check this out in the middle. Here is a model of Goldfield in its heyday. There's the Goldfield Hotel. There's the building that we're in right now. During this period of time, none other than Wyatt Earp himself operated the Northern Saloon in town. And his brother Virgil Earp, who had survived the whole OK Corral tombstone stuff, was out here as well with his wife Allie. Some people say he was a marshal in town, others just a bouncer or a saloon keeper. I don't know, the story is different in different things I've read. But whether bouncer or marshal, his one arm was actually useless from the tombstone events. And at any rate, a strange, mysterious bout of pneumonia was going through Goldfield, and it got Virgil Earp. His wife Allie gave him a cigar, laid his head on the pillow somewhere here in town, and one of the famous Earp brothers of Tombstone passed away right here in Goldfield, Nevada. His body's not in town though. They shipped his body up to Oregon where his daughter lived. But who knows, guys? His ghost may be here this very day. Whoa! Oh, it's just George.
Pretty darn cool. Just think about that. The Earps were at... Wait a minute. Forget the Earps for a second. What's that? Oh, I almost forgot. There's more cars. That's another thing that Goldfield is famous for. It's amazing art cars. And look at animals in this one. Woman! Woman! Many of the art cars in town were created by a fella named Slim. The name of this one supposedly is Recycled. Pretty good title, huh? Oh yeah, that is one fine looking truck, I tell you what. I believe the other art cars are down the street here. Oh wow, man. Yeah, look at this town. There was upwards of 30,000 people living here at one point. One person told us that at the moment it's 276, although now that we're here, that's 279. Hey, look at this, guys. We might want to go to this bar later. It has Nevada's meanest bartender. Just kidding, I don't like people who are mean. We've already got one mean guy with us, right, George? Oh yeah, look at this. This is what we're looking for. The art is strong with Goldfield, Nevada. Look at that giant giraffe up there. The most impressive stuff is over past the selection of rocks for sale. Look at these. Apparently these art cars over here were rescued from an impound lot, and they were originally created for Burning Man. But Slim and his friend Rocket, I guess his name is, found a place to put them. And now all this kooky weirdness is located in Goldfield, Nevada, hopefully for good. Dude, that's a sick whip right there, guys. That's a pretty cool mode of transportation. Look at this one. This one's an art trailer. It's covered in terrifying dolls, beads and knickknacks of every kind. A little people house, is that what that is? There's even a Furby on board. Oh, look at that. That's a nice message right there. Check this out. Look at that Volkswagen Beetle welded to the top of this van. Part time machine and part Happy Meal toy. Look at this. I like this one. This one's called the Houseboat Car, and you can see very clearly why that's its name. That is one funky looking machine, man. Apparently they drove this thing around all over the place before Burning Man. Can you imagine driving down the freeway and seeing this thing behind you? Look at the size of these creative ideas. This one here was originally covered with more than 10,000 popsicle sticks, but most of them seem to have fallen off in the intervening years. I love all kinds of folk art, and that includes art cars. This one's called the Santa Bug, and it is pretty darn cool. Love that W up there. Also love that chimney or whatever it is. This thing is so bizarre. I feel like if I had one of these and I was driving it around Anaheim, California, you know, I would almost certainly get a ticket. But it looks like out here in Nevada, they have a very high tolerance for art, which is a good thing. Man, Goldfield is a pretty cool friggin' town. We found a pamphlet. Virgil Earp was
what does it say? County deputy or sheriff?
Deputy
sheriff, all the way up until he died. A one-armed sheriff. Guess I gotta brush back up on my ERP research, huh? Wow, check that out. There's the old Goldfield Firehouse. That is pretty impressive. And across the street, the old 1907 courthouse. Wow, check that out. They used to have the old fire alarms scattered through the town. You could pull the lever and call up the fire department. Although I think they're gonna need a little upholstery and maybe some engine work before they're gonna be on duty today. Whoa, check this out behind the old courthouse. It's the old Goldfield High School. I gotta say, I didn't really much care for my high school, but at least it was slightly less haunted looking than this. Look at that, it looks like the clock tower a little bit from Back to the Future. Doc, I have to tell you about the future! On the night I go back in time. No, Doc! Morty!
Your kids ready to come These are our boys, Jules and Vern.
Oh, dang, man. Looks like there's a lot more to see in Goldfield than we have time for today. Definitely gonna have to brush up on my ERP history before the next time I come to Central Nevada. At the moment, though, we're out of time, and anyway, we've seen enough stuff that I think we've done our duty. Stay tuned for our next adventure because it's gonna be a doozy. But until then,
You can go home and sleep well.
thanks, guys. See ya!
You can go home and...
I was waiting for you. I wasn't gonna say it.
Why not?
People are gonna hate me.
Why they don't hate you? You're
gonna
so
hate me.
handsome.
They're gonna be like, oh,
You're so
don't-
handsome.
like, he's
Why
bumping.
would you say it, Oscar?
Because they don't think they hate me.
You don't want people to go home and sleep well?
No.
Why?
They need to go home and watch my videos.
People are gonna get insomnia now. And it's all because of Oscar. I thought my jokes were funnier.